Welcome back to the show, everybody. Now, the market may be down because of the all-time high being 3 trillion plus and where we're sitting today, but trust me when I tell you, we've got some fantastic news today. Janet Yellen's in the news. That part you're not going to like. Fidelity, you'll like. But Bank of England on stablecoins. And we've also got Ripple partner SBI working with the digital yen smart contracts. We'll get into it. Ripple executive James Wallace drops a bombshell. What we're talking about is the UK and the US banks launching stablecoins on the XRP ledger. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen. Everything we're talking about here today, $1.370 trillion is where the market cap is. Quite a bit different from the 3 trillion plus we were at. But I tell you what, with the things that you're going to see today, it won't surprise me to see the market cap of cryptocurrencies in the trillions plus in the very near term. And the near term, what is that? I don't know. Year, 2 years, who knows what it is, but I know it's coming. Not financial advice. My digital perspectives. Bitcoin is 31,700 plus. Ethereum 1,900 plus. We see Cardano at 60 cents and XRP at 42. Look at the range of price very quickly right here this morning. It's 40 cents on the bottom, almost 41 cents, and 42 cents on the top. Pretty tight trading range this morning. Look, crypto is a high risk investment. I've been telling you, I love working with Glint. I love using it, being a customer of Glint. This is fantastic. It is a way for me to get gold on my app, and if I choose, I got a debit card with it, and I can use it to buy things to hedge the inflation we're all currently feeling right now. You can buy, save, send, and spend your money, your gold, on your card, on your app, and it is physically allocated to you. Link underneath the video. Don't mess around. It is really, really a great product. Sarah Netburn has scheduled a new conference between the U.S. and the SEC Commission, or Securities Exchange Commission, and Ripple lawyers to discuss the renewed assertions of attorney-client privilege. If you have not seen the first video from this morning, please go watch that video for all the pertinent information. June 7th is when the hearing is. This right here is an awkward moment, is right. This is Janet Yellen being asked about the transitory inflation she carried the narrative of early on when inflation started, and I think we all knew that that was BS. But listen to what she says here to Wolf Blitzer when asked about the previous statements she's made on the economy and inflation. Take a listen.
But it wasn't just the president who got it wrong a year or so ago. I want to play for you what you said about inflation last year. Listen to this.
Is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small risk, and I think it's manageable. I don't anticipate that inflation is going to be a problem, but it is something that we're watching very carefully.
Was it a mistake, Madam Secretary, to downplay this inflation risk? Did that contribute to the problems we're all seeing right now? Well,
look, I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that I at the time didn't fully understand.
But it wasn't just the
You didn't fully understand. You know who gets to not fully understand it? Me and you. We get to fully not understand it. The problem is we all did fully understand it. We knew it was BS at the time that she said it. And now, what are her options? I gotta say I was wrong. How do you get to be the U.S. Treasurer and not have the kind of clarity of thought and understanding and forethought to see that this was obviously not transitory? Because people at this level are professional. What's the word? I want to say liar. Well, liars is the word, right? They lie, right? And they lie because they don't want you and I to panic based on the very real information. But the reality is, I remember discussions happening openly on social media or in my DMs where people are like, we all know this transitory stuff's a lie. You know what I mean? It's going to be around a while. You can't print $10+ trillion inside a 2-year period and not think there's going to be some repercussions. The thing is they talk to us like we're stupid. That's what they really think of us, right? That's what they think of us. And there's real trouble coming. Right? Because it isn't just the, printing of the money. There are many other dynamics to what is going on globally with the monetary system. The yuan and ruble trading explodes 1,000% in challenge to the US dollar dominance. Now, it has a way to go, but if we look at some of this here, I want to show you that right here it says it has risen 1,067% to roughly $4 billion since the start of the war in Ukraine. Now, the strength of the ruble, I just reported the other day, is stronger than it has ever been in its history. So how are the sanctions supposedly hurting Russia? That's what the question is. Jack Dorsey takes the moment to say, when did the dollar lose its global reserve currency status? And then, of course, people were saying, it did not lose its global reserve status from Ian Bremmer here. Plenty of people would love to see the end of the dollar as a global reserve currency, but you need a credible alternative, and there isn't one. Well, you know what? Here's the problem, because we do know even more events have taken place, like Saudi Arabia's plan to price some oil contracts in the Chinese yuan. The real strength behind the dollar is not just the full backing of the U.S. government and its military, but it's also oil and the agreement to price oil in the petrodollar, in the U.S. dollar. And when these things start to shift collectively, there's a culmination of things that can happen as a bunch of pieces of a puzzle coming together or falling apart, if you will, that could really lead to a very dire situation for the U.S. dollar. Is there anything that can help it? Yes. The adoption of systemically important designation around the world of value protocols like XRP and XLM. They can serve as a bridge token to all of the dollars of the world, and for the first time in the world, we can alleviate the real problem of the Triffin dilemma of fiat money serving as a global reserve currency. How long it takes to get there, I don't know, but I do believe it is where we're going. EU regulator warns soaring inflation could drive investors to crypto, calls for unified regulatory framework. Well, I agree. Crypto, gold, private art, private equity, fine art, private equity. These are the things I'm going into, all of these areas. Absolutely. I don't want to hold dollars. Now, I do want to have some cash in case there are some really difficult short-term periods. We've had threats of cyber attacks on the banking system. So there is some liquid cash, potential there that you may want to have some for yourself and your family should you experience some things like that. But I mean, all of those areas are really areas of interest and diversification for me. This is Fidelity saying they are now going to offer Ethereum trading and custody services. Don't forget, Fidelity is also partnered with Coinbase too. So there's a lot happening on that front. But we got a lot to go over here. Let's keep this moving. Bank of England now, and you're going to hear more in just a second from the executive, James Wallace, who is the head of central bank engagement, and he is going to drop a bombshell on everybody. So take a listen to this. First, Bank of England to take rescue role if stablecoins collapse. This is in light of the U.S. Terra collapse. Listen to the verbiage that the Bank of England is using here. The Treasury said yesterday that a failure of a systemically important stablecoin. Need a minute? Over 2 years, we've been talking about systemically important designations, and now the Bank of England's talking about it too, and we just so happen to have an executive order here in the United States. We know that the U.S. Treasury and FSOC have the power to do a systemic important designation without Congress's approval, and we may just see it happen here. I want to go on to show this section down here as well. and it is right here. It said that the failure of a systemic firm that operates a stable coin could threaten the continuity of services critical to the operation of the economy and access of individuals to their funds or assets. This is what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. They're talking about financial stability risk, market integrity, right? We're talking about stable coins being issued by banks instead. Is what we're talking about. Oh, it's coming. You're about to hear James Wallace tell you it's coming from two huge economic regions on the planet. SBI now Holdings and Digital Asset, which is a company, Digital Asset, will collaborate to drive concept of programmable money into Japanese market through a smart yen program. We know that SBI is in fact a Ripple partner, as it reminds us all right here, and Digital Asset, the company, is based out of New York. We will keep an eye on that as it develops. Now, Ripple, the reminder here is when Brad Garlinghouse was just at Davos, he was asked about, being bought out. And he said, I think we're beyond the being bought out and we're doing the buying if anything's happening, right? Keep that in mind as we move forward, ladies and gentlemen. Ripple is extremely liquid and they are in a very, very powerful position to make some serious mergers and acquisitions that can bolster the company's growth. So keep an eye out for that. Now this is the fire right here. This is James Wallace again, the head of central bank engagement for Ripple, and he is about to tell you that XRP is going to be used by the central banks and the commercial banks to issue stable coins and hold those reserves by the central banks. But he's also going to tell you where.
Currencies in terms of native cryptos like XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're not all the same, right? They're not all created equal.
That's for sure.
I think what's becoming much more popular in the industry now is more sustainable technologies. So the XRP ledger and XRP is, there's no mining or proof of work or proof of stake involved. So the computational cost of validating transactions is almost zero, right? Very, very low cost and very stable in terms of pricing. Stable coins, again, not all created equal. You have a massive range from the algorithmic type stable coins. We all know the Terra story from a few weeks ago. And then now what we're seeing emerging is, stable coins being issued by regulated entities. So I can't give you the names yet, but there's two projects we're working on, one in the UK and one in the US, working with banks that are regulated, who will be issuing stable coins, and the reserves will likely to be held at a central bank in a central bank account. So very different from the algorithmic stable coin. We as Ripple work across all of these technologies. And then, of course, you've got central bank digital currencies, which essentially is the highest form of digital currency, right? Issued by the central bank, backed by the central bank, the most secure form. As a company who's working across the payment space, we're embracing all of these, and we see they will all play their part in the future of money. Today, cryptocurrency is less than 1% of all the money. Central bank money is less than 10%. The rest is all commercial bank money. So it'll be interesting to see, in 5 or 10 years, how does that look when it's all digitized? Will stablecoins be 90% of the market and CBDCs 10%? Or will CBDCs actually be allowed to grow and be a much higher percentage of the money supply? I don't know. That's for the policymakers to decide.
That's pretty damn powerful right there, ladies and gentlemen. He is letting us know that the UK and the United States have banks that are going to issue stable coins and put the reserves at a central bank in those countries and launch off the XRP ledger. Now, what I find extremely powerful about that is up until now, we've been hearing that the plan to phase in is to do all of these exotic markets, right? These corridors that have trouble with liquidity, right? Volume and all of this. And it makes sense. But it sounds like to me they're coming at this thing from both ends now. And not too long from now, some commercial bank out of UK maybe Bank of England, been a partner for years, and some commercial bank out of the U.S., who knows, maybe it's PNC, the first American bank to go on to RippleNet, maybe it's Bank of America, are going to launch stable coins off of the XRP ledger. That much he's telling us, and hold the reserves at a central bank. By the way, central banks are less than 10% of the money that make up what's going on around the world, which tells you again that CBDCs primarily are looking at a back-end wholesale use, while 90+% of the money in the world is coming from commercial banks, which he just announced are going to be launching stable coins in the UK and the US off of the XRP ledger. One more time with the quick little clip here from Baba Kugs here.
Emerging is, stable coins being issued by regulated entities. So
come on in.
I can't give you the names yet, but there's two projects we're working on, one in the UK and one in the US, working with banks that are regulated, who will be issuing stable coins, and the reserves will likely to be held at a central bank in a central bank account. So very different from the algorithmic stable coin.
Yes, very, very different. In fact, it looks a lot like what I did a diagram of the last time we heard James Wallace talk. And what I put together as a diagram is starting to look a lot exactly like what James Wallace has been saying. And it's really starting to add up. The question now is if the UK is in fact making a CBDC, or let's call it stablecoin, from commercial banks and putting the reserves with the central bank in the UK, and we know that the US commercial bank is doing the same with a stablecoin in reserves, we're not off by a lot here, ladies and gentlemen. The reserves and surplus, all collateral, go towards the real utility and price of XRP that will be used, because it's being put on the back of XRP and or XLM in some cases as well. The question now is if they're going to be launching stable coins with reserves at the central bank for commercial banks, that's your stable coin. So if we're going to get a price set, is it because XRP becomes a global stable coin, as the Financial Stability Board has cited that there is such a thing as a global stable coin? The question now is if we get enough countries to do exactly what the UK and the US are doing, will that constitute XRP as a global stable coin? Pretty amazing stuff going on here, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe below, and leave a comment as well. Check out all the links below the video. They're products and services I use each and every day. I'll catch all of you on the next one.